Recommending irons to mid-handicap golfers could be deemed somewhat pointless. It's like me reviewing a golf shoe and going, make sure to go and get it in a size 8. I have scanned hours of old reviews and current prices to find these once glamorized mid-handicap irons that we have all forgotten about. It blows my mind the prices these recently manufactured irons are going for, and it's also one of the main reasons why I feel comfortable sharing them with you in this video. As previously mentioned, the average mid-handicap golfer's strengths can vastly differ from one another. So I've made sure the choices in this video cover the different types of mid-handicap golfers that I typically see on a day-to-day basis. But are your irons currently holding you back from your full potential? We're told year after year that the newer irons are longer, more forgiving, softer, and ultimately worth you spending £150 a club. But simply, irons have one job: hit the ball off the ground and land soft on the green. Blades do this very well out of the middle, but a slight mishit and you'll lose more distance than my ever-shrinking hairline. Cavity back irons are great on off-center hits, but you swing a bit too fast and catch them a bit too well, you know it's flying over the green before your mates even finish saying, nice shot. It's for this reason you see so many pros using combo sets on tour, as even the pros feel a bit more confident using mid-handicap irons when it comes to the 4-5 and well 6. If by any chance I don't cover your game or your swing in this video, feel free to message me at sasgolfacademy.com and I'll happily answer any questions that you might have on equipment or technique. Not just known for their lovable soft feel balls, and yes, I am still talking about golf, Srixon had a great year in 2023 with Brooks and Shane. The once plummeting prices of Srixon irons doesn't seem to be the case in 2024, with the recent limelight being shone upon the ZX Iron series. Thankfully, the same can't be said for their 2019 models that have all the same attributes, but with very much more confusing names. Potentially a reason why they don't do well secondhand, because no one really knows what they're even buying. To decipher old Srixon irons and know which one is for you, the first number on the back of the head will determine its loft and forgiveness, as well as how offset it is. As an example, 965 is a low handicap iron with no offset and more traditional lofts. 765 in the middle with offset and the lofts, and the 565 is the most delofted and very offset for that more beginner golfer. But to kick off my list, we're going to go more recent for you mid-handicap golfers that want the most true lofted and softest iron for £299. The Srixon Z785 with the 7-iron lofted at 32 degrees. Typically, if you're hitting your current delofted 7-iron 175 yards on the fly, this is a great option to rein in those random rockets you occasionally see sail over the green. Again, for you fast and mid-handicap swing players, 4 to pitch and wedge makes sense, as you'll have enough speed and compression to actually get the 4-iron to work for you. As you can see, there's loads of good ranges of these sets online around the £299, and considering 4 to pitch and wedge is 7 clubs, I mean, we're talking almost £40 a stick. There was a time when majors weren't being won unless this iron brand was in the pros' hands. They also had some relatively unknown pros use their equipment over the years, such as Sam Snead, Arnold Palmer, Nick Faldo, you know, the golfers that you virtually have never heard of. But with Gary Woodland bringing their last major win back in 2019 and the one before that being Padraig Harrington back in 2008, it's fair to say Wilson isn't on the forefront of an average golfer's mind, but let me tell you why I think it should. Retailed at $799 back in 2020, the D7 forged irons with a loft of 30.5 degrees on the 7-iron a step up in power compared to the Srixons. These to me are my safest pick for golfers that I have literally no information on. Do you need more control from your standard cavity back? Choose these. Getting a bit slower from the many years in the game and you need a bit more power? Choose these. Just starting the game and don't struggle for distance whatsoever? You get my point. These float around the £299 mark, and for all the golfers I just described a minute ago, I wouldn't bother getting a 4-iron. I'd go straight to 5 to pitching wedge. A 4 hybrid instead of the 4-iron slot makes sense for the slower players, as they're going to get more launch and obviously more distance, and for the faster players, well, let's be honest, they're going to get a bit more forgiveness from those off-centre strikes. One of the most frustrating situations in golf is knowing you swing faster than your friends, yet constantly using one club more than them for the exact same distance. Now, de-lofted irons are definitely a sore subject when it comes to the golf community, especially the way it's never mentioned in the same sentence as the new technological advancements that manufacturers seem to keep finding and not using the actual loft in, well, the same sentence. However, there is definitely a place for them when it comes to certain mid-handicap golfers, especially the ones that launch the ball too high and spin the ball too much. Now, before you leap and buy the PXG 0211 DC irons 2019 or even some 2021 models that I've seen plummeting in price when it comes to secondhand, there are 2 criteria I need you to pay attention to before you go and buy them. These are very strong lofted at 28 degrees on the 7-iron. So again, I have to be careful who I recommend these to. But for me, these are great for a golfer that has exceptionally high ball flight, but never sees more than 120, 130, potentially 140 yards carry with their current 7-iron. The second criteria to really pay attention to with this set is not really getting a 5-iron. 6 to sandwich for that slower player, mix it with a graphite shaft. These are going to give you pound for pound the most distance, especially when it comes to the second-hand market. And for that maybe faster club head speed player that launches a ball into the clouds and their ball comes down with virtually snow on it, 6 to sandwich with steel shafts. But to be honest, that player with a bit of a lesson potentially could go straight to the D7s anyway and have a 5 to pitching wedge in the same spec, and realistically that iron set is going to last them a bit longer on their golfing journey. The biggest mistake I see too many golfers make when they first come down into the teens when it comes to their handicap is going too small too quick. As I've showed through the list, these irons have pros and cons for all. There isn't one iron that does everything. Therefore, you've got to be really honest with yourself and find exactly what is your biggest weakness. Is distance your weakness? Then PXG. Do you occasionally have flyers that go 20 yards over the back of the green? Well, then Srixons make a lot of sense. Are you halfway in between and still need a bit of help on off-center strikes, but have a relatively good distance? Well, obviously Wilson for me would be the answer. But irons certainly aren't the hardest clubs in our game. And if you want to be surprised or shocked with what some of the best golfers in the world are using in that hardest spot, check this video up here on the right hand side, because honestly, some of these clubs are an absolute bargain.